Hello everybody, I am Fuzzy Face. Welcome back to this Motorsport Manager career. We're rocking up to Doha, the capital of Qatar today for the second round of the 2020 season, our season 3, the third season with this Williams team. We've made some massive progress with the car. We've now got the 4th best overall car in Formula 1 at the moment. We've got 2 new front wings almost ready to go into the car. Our current best front wing that we've got currently in the car is a 1029. We can get this new front wing that we've just built up to a 1130, so over a 100 point improvement. So we're currently working on that. If you've watched my series before, if you're a regular viewer, you'll know throughout the season there are certain points at the season where I can introduce new upgrades to the car. They start at Tondela round 4, where I can introduce Aero upgrades to the car, so the front wing, rear wing and the suspension. Moving on from that, the 6th round, Vancouver, I can introduce power upgrades, so the engine, gearbox and brakes. I can start introducing parts from then, and then past that we get to round 10 in Milan, where I can introduce any new upgrades that I built at that point, and then on to round 14, the first race in America, the first Phoenix Grand Prix that we run. Obviously the oval is at the end of the season. That is another point in the season where I can introduce upgrades. So even though I've got these front wings done, I haven't worked on the reliability yet, just because there's no point. I can start working on those maybe after this race. I'm currently still working on the reliability of the car at the moment. The parts there are over 70% now, which should see them through to the end of the race if we don't push things too much. But we've moved on to working on the gearbox. I want to get a few decent gearbox builds done. It is the weakest part in the car at the moment, so if we can sort of improve this before we get to Vancouver, it should put us in good stead there. I'm guessing that Mercedes, oh, that's swapped around. We've actually suddenly got a better engine than Mercedes for some reason. It was the other way around before this race. Ferrari have jumped above us, but for some reason we've gone above Mercedes. We're not actually, I'm guessing that's just because of a little bit of performance work we did. We improved the engine ever so slightly, but Ferrari have gone ahead and built an engine already. Is it actually good enough to go in the car? Is it reliable enough? We don't know. We've also had the scouting report done on Alex Lynn. He's a 3.5-star rated driver. Obviously not at the 4-star level of Bottas and Raikkonen, who were in this seat before. He does have the racer stat though, which Bottas didn't have, which I think Kimi might have had it, I'm not quite sure. And the other ones are already built into there. So he does at least have the racer stat, which makes him a 4-star and above rated driver during the race. He is there for a long contract, as is the reserve driver at Ferrari, Antonio Giovinazzi. He's got a long contract there, but more importantly, Sebastian Vettel, he's only got a small contract. His contract is nearly up. It will be up at the end of this season, so Ferrari could see themselves in a bit of trouble here. We might be seeing the Ferrari lineup next season being Alex Lynn and Antonio Giovinazzi, which would work well for us, but it would be a shame for Ferrari as well. We can't do anything about that, but we're going to get into the race weekend. At the moment we still got the problem with the 3 qualifying sessions. Obviously we couldn't get an idea of what the AI was going to do with their tyres in the last race, since all of practice was rain, so everyone just ran on intermediates for the entirety of practice. Today is going to be dry for practice, dry for qualifying as well. So I don't know what the AI is going to do with the tyres. Obviously, you can only take 5 of the softest compound tyre, the pre-distributed 5 of every compound. Here, if they use 2 in practice, no one's going to have, you're only going to have 3 pairs left for doing 3 qualifying sessions over. But we're just going to have to see how it works. So hopefully the AI can find a way around it. If not, we're going to have to be the ones to find a way around it by maybe matching the AI if they start to run on mediums or whatever. But we'll get back to that. We'll skip over practice as usual and we'll be back in a second. Hopefully we'll just go with Q3 again in qualifying, and we'll be back for that in a second. So here we go with Q3 in qualifying. Norris went out in the last round, 11th in Q2. As we see, Van Dorn is already out of soft tyres. By my counting, Hamilton, Lynn, and I think Verline and Ricciardo only have 1 pair of softs left. Bottas so far has been the quickest in qualifying. Whether he's going to go quicker here again, if he can get on pole in that McLaren, it would be impressive. I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I'm guessing we're going to see an increased performance from the Mercedes in Q3 here. But as we move around, Ocon, is he going decently here? What's he like? He's 4/10ths back already after that first sector, so we haven't been the best here. At Q1, we were actually 14th and 15th. And only just managed to scrape through into Q2. Norris was right on the border as well, but he got overtaken by Van Dorn right at the time limit for Q2. Anyway, we'll just speed this through now and see where we can get Ocon here. We've got Hamilton quickest at the moment. Ocon is currently 4th. We've got another run that we can do with Ocon. Obviously, Hamilton, if he decides to do another run, he can only come out on the mediums next time. So it might upset him a little bit, but Ocon seems pretty slow. We're waiting for Hulkenberg and Vettel and Co to go around. And Lingo's quicker, so Ocon is only 9th here. Last season, he actually managed to qualify 8th. Finished the race in 2nd, whereas the pole positions last year were Hamilton, Vettel, Magnussen, 1, 2, 3. So here we go with the 2nd qualifying lap in Q3. Hamilton's come back out again on a pair of used soft, as has Daniel Ricciardo. Valtteri Bottas and Van Dorn as well are all back out on used soft tyres. So we do have Bottas within our sights. I'm guessing this is him in front of us. No, it's not Bottas, he's a little bit further down the track. It's Van Dorn in front of us, holding us up. He's trying to hold us up to keep us behind Valtteri Bottas here, but it doesn't quite work the same as it did when this game first came out and you could be held up in qualifying. The other cars are sort of ghost cars as you just run your normal lap. It looks like we're quite a bit quicker here, so we might see Ocon hopefully move up above Daniel Ricciardo. Obviously Ricciardo is going quicker on this used soft tyre though. Ocon goes up into 5th place, and it looks like that's about where we're going to finish here. So here we go with the grid for the 2020 Doha Grand Prix. The front row of the grid, a slight change from usual. Nico Hulkenberg, an excellent qualifying session from him, gets himself up into 2nd onto the front row of the grid. Lewis Hamilton in pole position. Kevin Magnussen is 3rd on the grid. Sebastian Vettel with his cracked rib, his performance down here 6/10 behind the lead Mercedes in 4th place. Esteban Ocon did a decent job starting the race on this used soft tyre. He will have to stop this race, although with Doha it is the one track where the pit stop only takes about 10 seconds with the amount of time you cut out of the track. Alex Lane in that 2nd prancing horse, the 2nd Ferrari in 6th place. Valtteri Bottas is 7th in the McLaren, followed by Danny Rick 8th in the Red Bull. Pascal Wehrlein, his teammate, just behind him in 9th. Stoffel Van Dorn in 10th, and then we get to Lando Norris in 11th place, who went out in Q2. He does have the added benefit that he can start on any compound that he wants. He's going to start off on the medium, move to the hard tyre. Norris is going to split strategies with Ocon. Norris is going to do the one-stop strategy around this track. Max Verstappen starting on the hard tyre in 12th in the Force India. The Haas of Sainz in 13th. Rosenquist 14th. Sergio Perez in 15th in the 2nd Force India. And then we get to the cars that went out in Q1. We have Roman Grosjean in the Haas, Charles Leclerc in the Sauber, Pierre Gasly in the Toro Rosso, and then bringing up the rear, as usual, Billy Johnson, Marcus Ericsson. So all the teams outside the top 10 look to be going for the... And what's Sergio Perez doing on a used pair of soft tyres? What is that about? I was just about to say every car outside the top 10 is going to be working towards a one-stop strategy, but Sergio, I don't even know what he's doing. Anyway, let's get on to this race. The lights are about to go out here in Doha, and we're underway. A decent start from Ocon, but he's going to get held up by Magnussen, which allows Lynn to go around the outside. Is Ocon going to hold on here? He manages to get in front of Lynn again. He's going to go around the outside of Hulkenberg. Can we get the run on Hulkenberg? We do. Hulkenberg off the line slow. Norris himself has made a really good start. Has gained a couple of places ahead of Max Verstappen and Valtteri Bottas. No, that is Perez in front. Verstappen's had an absolute nightmare of a start. Finds him all the way down in 14th place. Ocon is still on the outside here. He's got a few cars going around him. Norris is right on the back of him here. So Ocon down to 7th place here. That's Hulkenberg in front. I don't really want to go through this soft tyre too much. I just want to have a quick look. This soft tyre can do another 6 laps, which would take us to 26 laps to go. So from there, we could do 2 mediums, or we could go for a middle stint on the hard tyre and see how far we can get on that hard tyre maybe. We'll just have to think about it once we start getting to the point where we start thinking about our pit stops. Norris does have some room to push though. He can do about 34 laps on the tyres that we've set him up for the race on, so it looks like he's challenging here, but going up the outside of Ocon has managed to let... Who went through there? Hulkenberg went back through. It's Sauber. The Sauber of Charles Leclerc's made a really good start, and Ocon is dropping down the order here. Finds himself in 9th place early on in this race. He's about to lose out to Valtteri Bottas as well. No, shoots into that corner and gets on the inside line once again and manages to stay in front of Valtteri Bottas, but he's going to be under pressure from Sergio Perez here. Leading out of that corner, Sergio Perez as well on that used pair of soft tyres, starting from 14th place. Whether that's going to be a good option for him, he seems to have some speed over the other cars in the early going of this Grand Prix. Although Norris, all the way up into 7th place here, he's having a good race at the moment. Better than his teammate. We're just going to have to start looking after these tyres a little bit as well now. But Ocon is under pressure from the house of Carlos Sainz. It looks like Carlos is going to get in front of him. I don't really want to push the car in overtake mode, but we might have to do it for a lap just to catch the rest of the pack back up. It should give us enough power to get back in front of Perez here. If we can get that move made, we're not getting slowed down behind that Force India. They'll try to make that move, slows us down, and lets Carlos Sainz almost catch us up. We try to shoot down the inside here. Can't get the move on Perez. Norris, meanwhile, has moved himself up to 6th place. He's managed to get past Nico Hülkenberg here. Hülkenberg and all these other cars now on used soft tyres should be starting to slow down, whereas Ocon is stuck and allows Carlos Sainz past him, but he's going to get the inside run. No, around the outside, then switches to the inside. Stays in front of Carlos Sainz here. I don't really want to push the fuel too much. It doesn't look like we're going to get Perez. Although saying that, we start to catch him up just as I do that. Should we keep it running for a full lap here? As Norris now is starting to get away from Nico Hülkenberg behind him. We're on the start of lap 4 now. Norris is 6th. He's under pressure from Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg tries to go around the outside, can't make it stick. Ocon, meanwhile, still pushing here. We're going to have to get him back into high mode. We're struggling behind Sergio Perez here. Norris is 6th though at the moment. Ocon will pass Sergio Perez in the pits. Obviously, we know we've got the best pit crew here. That's just what we're going to have to bide our time doing. Just see how far we can get these soft tyres into the Grand Prix. We have to make them last quite a little while if we conserve now as well. If we're running a little bit longer, we can maybe do the rest of this race on 2 sets of medium tyre. That might help. We've got Daniel Ricciardo has crashed. So should we get Ocon off this tyre early here? You can get off this, get him onto the intermediate, and then he can finish the race on a medium tyre after that. It might just be pushing a little bit too much on the medium, so we're going to go hard, just play it nice and safe, and we will be able to push on that. Norris, meanwhile, he can just hold back, he doesn't have to pit. But obviously a lot of these cars that started the race on the soft tyre, the front runners, are going to get a free pit stop here, which isn't going to work out too well for Norris. Lynn and Hamilton have both managed to get into the pits. Lynn running in 2nd place, have both managed to get into the pits and out again. Ocon finds himself down in 12th place, but there are a lot of cars here that haven't made a pit stop yet. It sort of puts him on a par with these cars now because of what they're doing. These hard tyres can still go a long way into this Grand Prix. Right, the safety car has started to pull away, so we're going to get back up on this fuel. We can go overtake for a little bit here at the start. We might as well do the same with Esteban Ocon. Hope we can move him up from 12th. He's still behind Hülkenberg. Where has Perez gone? Perez stayed out on that soft tyre for some reason. I don't know what the Force India team are doing here. He stayed out on that used soft tyre, but Norris is currently 3rd here. He's got cars in front of him now that are on fresher tyres, so I wouldn't expect us to make that move, although we do have potential to get past Lynn, and that is Vettel going up the outside. Can't make it stick though. Vettel is under pressure now from Charles Leclerc. Is that Leclerc? He is under pressure. Vettel manages to stay ahead. Norris battling with Alex Lynn though here. Doesn't look like we're going to make that move stick. We will be coming under pressure from Vettel there, and Ocon going between Gasly and Verstappen here. Makes that stick, gets himself up into 10th place. He started from 12th once the safety car cut that corner a little bit there. But he's trying to get... who's that in front? That's Carlos Sainz in front in the Haas. He's trying to make a move stick on Carlos Sainz here. Should we get pushing a little bit on this hard tyre? Obviously, we know we can go for another hard tyre if we start running this tyre out. We just want to move Ocon back up the order here by pushing all out a little bit, whereas Norris, he's managed to just sort of hold on to the back of Lynn here. Should we get him pushing? We'll keep him pushing as he is. We just want to keep him ahead of Vettel, Lynn, Hamilton. They all do have to make another stop along with Norris, so Norris is in a really good position here. But I wouldn't expect us to hold off Vettel to the end of this race, whereas we're just pushing Ocon for a little bit now, all out. What sort of lap times is he doing? A 1:53, so he's pretty slow on this hard tyre, although we might not get a full readout on that until the next lap of what we're doing. We're going quicker this lap by over a second, and we're on the back of Kevin Magnussen here as he leaves the car behind one of the grandstands. So Ocon, we're not catching that Mercedes in front, but Norris still, meanwhile, still holding on here. So we're going to get back into neutral here. We might even conserve a little bit. Just see how far we can get this tyre. Ocon is going around the outside, switches to the inside, but he can't get that move on Leclerc, although he dives late into that corner, manages to get past Leclerc. Ocon now up into 7th. He's in the 151s. Obviously, Norris is still a little bit quicker on that medium tyre. We're still just wanting to get Ocon to finish the race on that medium, whereas Norris is going to go onto the hard tyre at that point in the Grand Prix. And we're under pressure from Vettel, so we're going to have to go neutral a little bit here. How far can Norris go on a hard tyre? Possibly 20 laps, so another 4 laps before the pit window sort of opens for Norris. Whereas Ocon, we're just pushing all out on this hard tyre. He's starting to slow down a little bit now, as just need to be careful with the fuel as well. So I don't think we quite have the pace to get him. Let's just say that and we get past him. I was just about to say we don't have the pace to get past Magnussen, but Magnussen's sleeping on that corner. Allows us now to get the run on Grosjean. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to make that stick. And we'll just hold off here for a little bit with Ocon, because it's still the intention to get him onto this medium tyre for the last stint in the race. Norris doing a good job of holding up Sebastian Vettel as we're about a third of the way through this Grand Prix. Norris, meanwhile, we're just hoping to get him to around about lap 12. If we can do that, then we're in a really good position to get onto the hard tyre. We know we have quick pit stops. We're possibly not going to be at a point where we can undercut. We're 151. We're a long way off the leading cars here. The Ferrari and the Mercedes in front are going to start pulling ahead. We're going to get Ocon back into neutral here. And we'll just keep Norris running the same way he is, although his tyres are slightly overheated. What we'll do is we'll cool him down for the next lap or so. It's possibly going to let Vettel past. But obviously we're not really fighting Vettel at the moment. He's on much quicker tyres. But then again, if we can hold him behind, if we can just cool these tyres down quickly, we can then run back in neutral until we feel like we need to make this pit stop. Maybe get off these medium tyres quicker rather than later, because we're about 2 seconds down on the cars in front at the moment. So if we get back into push mode now, we can just cool them down a little bit. We'll get into full on overtake mode, because we can bring in Norris any time round about now. For his pit stop, we might as well get off this medium tyre. Although this medium's still quicker than the hard at the moment. But we've got another lap or so in it. Maybe a couple. We're getting away from Vettel here. So if we can just keep pushing like this with Norris. 21 laps remaining, so we could pit Norris after this pit stop, but after this lap, but we might just keep him out one more lap. He did a 150.7 on that last lap. Just see what his sector times. Is he down on the last lap this time? No, he's still actually quicker this lap than the last one. So if we just do this one more lap, and then we can just sort of cool him down. Ocon has recovered to 6th place here after his bad start to the race. He was 12th once the safety car came out and we made that pit stop. He's moved himself up to 6th place. He's doing quite a good job of getting himself back up there. But Norris, we're hoping, can hold on to this podium here. These tyres can get to 10% with them being the middle compound tyre. They are a little bit overheated. I do want them to go one more lap here. If we can make the tyre do that, if we can just see what we're like off the first sector here. We'll keep it pushing for the first sector. We managed to do that last lap in a 149.9. So this tyre's still holding up here. Is it still holding up over the first sector? Just about. So if we go back into backup mode for the second sector, and then we'll push the tyre once again all out until the pit stop. So we'll line up that pit stop now. We'll get Lando Norris onto this hard tyre. We know we have a really quick pit crew, and then it's just where we filter back out. We're obviously going to be held up by a couple of cars, but we should be coming out around here, because it does only cost you about 10 seconds as a pit stop around here. So we can get back into attack mode now as we start to get prepared for our first pit stop with Norris. Ocon has made a pit stop under the safety car, and Norris in and out. Really quick pit stop there. And where are we going to come back out? We come back out in front of Kevin Magnussen, back out into 6th place there. So we're just going to push for the first lap, see if we can hold off the Mercedes, who's on a used pair of hard tyres. So Norris is out behind Ocon. Ocon does have to make another pit stop here. Norris doesn't have to. Norris doesn't have to make another pit stop here. So he's in a really good position to the end of this race. We need to get around about another 4... If we can do another 6 laps on this hard tyre, with Ocon, so we can get pushing with him, maybe move him a little bit further up. Now maybe if we cool these tyres all the way down to optimum, then we can just push these tyres all out until we need to make a pit stop. Obviously they will be running hot, and that takes a little bit out of performance, but we'll just keep it running at the moment. We do need to recover the fuel at some point as well with Esteban Ocon, but it's currently 6th place for Norris. 5 seconds, he's still in front of Vettel. If we can stay within 10 seconds of Vettel in front, then we're quids in here to getting that podium finish still. Norris meanwhile is behind Ocon. Ocon, we're going to get him pushing now just so he doesn't hold up Norris. We don't want him holding up Norris here, as Norris is about half a second quicker. So if we can get Ocon pushing here, he's not going to hold up Norris, because Norris will want to keep within that 10-second gap to Sebastian Vettel, so when he decides to pit, we are still in front of him when we come back out of the pits. Obviously we don't want to go through too much of the tyre before then, but these hards operate at usually the same level all the way through its tyre life. There's no real sort of degradation. You can sort of run at the same pace all the way on this hard tyre, as Ocon's going about half a second quicker this lap. When are we going to start seeing some of the front runners come in? It doesn't look like it's going to be anytime soon, but currently running 5th and 6th. Ocon has to make this pit stop. This pit stop, when he makes it, at the moment he would be coming out in 12th place, just ahead of Verstappen if we made a pit stop right now. We're back on lap 18. We've moved up a place with both cars. That is because Roman Grosjean came into the pits. He's got problems with his car. He's been in the pits a really long time. So we're now 4th and 5th with Norris. Norris has fallen outside the 10-second zone that we wanted to keep him with these hard tyres. He's not able to keep pace with the Ferrari. Since the Ferrari's not following us, he is a lot quicker than the lap times we're able to put in. Even if we were on the same compound tyre, I don't think we'd be able to match the more powerful Ferrari with the much better driver as well. Ocon still doing really well with his lap times on this hard tyre. He's managed to get a gap of 3 seconds over his teammate. Obviously we're just waiting. He can come in any time soonish here. These tyres are a little bit overheated for Norris, so we're going to have to cool them down pretty quickly. A little bit overheated. Lynn is in the pits here. Is it Lynn in the pits, or he's managed to get back out in front? So Lynn on for a really good race here. Carlos Sainz is in the pits, but he's fixing some parts. So Ocon, once we start seeing his lap times sort of fall away here, he's in the 149s. Vettel's in the 149s. We're actually a little bit quicker once again with Norris, even whilst we're in backup mode. So if we cool these down, we might be able to push if we see Vettel hit the pits. But these tyres of Ocon can go all the way down, so we might as well just do that, and then we've got room to push on the... although we started to slow down this lap. So we're going to get in for... no, I want to do one more lap, and then we're not pushing it on the mediums. So Norris, meanwhile, is cooling down. Is Vettel getting prepared to do his pit stop? He is. So we're going to push all out here with Norris. Hopefully, we've got a little bit of pace in this car to get out in front of Vettel. Obviously, a lot of the pit lane is cut off here. So we're going to pass him here. But we've got a couple of corners to get around. Are we going to be able to do it? It doesn't look like it. Vettel has just got out in front of Lando Norris. So we're not going to bother fighting him, because I need to get these tyres through to the end of the race. Whereas Ocon is now going to line up for his second and final pit stop. Nothing to fix there. We'll go balanced. Fast would move us up into 6th. We've got a little bit of a risk there. We are saving 0.3 seconds. But we've got Charles Leclerc. Should we risk the fast one? Charles Leclerc possibly has to make a pit stop as well. So there's no point going for the faster pit stop to get in front of Charles Leclerc, because he's going to have to come into the pits as well. So we'll just stay with balanced here. We'll get Ocon into the pits, who's currently running 3rd. Norris is 5th. He's got a little bit of a gap back to Kevin Magnussen, but Magnussen still has to pit a second time as well. Leclerc has to pit, so it looks like Norris is at least going to get the 4th place. A really good race from Lando Norris. Ocon still pushing into the pits. He is going to have to go into medium mode, maybe a lap after the pit stop. And maybe we'll just recover coming into the pits, try and recover a little bit, and then we'll run into medium. And we're back out. Are we going to be able to get back out here? And we're back out into 6th place ahead of Charles Leclerc, who still does need to pit. So we're behind Ocon, behind Magnussen. Magnussen still does have to pit. So we're just going to have to look after these tyres in the early going here. We'll start recovering the fuel as well, because Magnussen has to pit 10 seconds or so. It's going to cost him. He doesn't have a pair of softs that he can go on to be really quick in this race. And we're still just recovering a little bit with Norris. We can sort of switch back now Ocon is going to be quicker than him, so Ocon does have a chance to catch his teammate here to prevent himself being outraced in the second race by his junior teammate. Ocon is now the senior member of this team. So 11 laps to go here. We've got Hamilton a long way out in front. Lynn is on a pair of medium tyres. So is Lynn going quicker? No, Hamilton's going even quicker on those hard tyres. Doing 147s. Lynn's doing 149s on that medium tyre. But we'll see where we're going to be at here. Magnussen as well is fixing his car. So Magnussen is falling down the order as well. So we should be pretty comfortable here. Leclerc has gone onto a soft tyre, but 15 seconds is too much of a gap for him to sort of pick back up here. So we're just sort of watching the battle between our teammates. Ocon is slower at the moment, but we're going to get back into medium mode. So both of these guys are going to be about the same. They're on the same sort of strategy now, although Ocon is on the fresher tyres, and he might have a little bit of room to push on these mediums towards the end of the race. So we'll just have to see whether they sort of start coming back here. So we've done another lap here. Lynn's up in the 148.9s. Vettel is a second quicker than his teammate, catching him, but that gap is a little bit too big here as we move down the order. We've got Bottas in 6th place here, running pretty well, although he's got another pit stop to make. Leclerc in the Sauber is in a really good position here. He took those hard tyres a very long way into the Grand Prix, and as we know, the cars down the order should have some soft tyres left, but a lot of them are choosing to run on a second set of hard tyres as well. Perez as well has got to make a second pit stop. Why he started on that soft tyre, that used soft tyre at the start of the race, we'll never know. We've got a Renault running in the top 10. Rosenqvist Hulkenberg, who was at second on the grid, is currently outside the points, running 11th going to the end of the race on this hard tyre. And Magnussen in the Mercedes is in 10th place. So what would that do at the moment? Hamilton would take the lead from Ocon, who won the first race, which obviously we know that's going to happen. Has someone just made a pit stop at the front there? No, they haven't. I thought I just saw someone in the pits, but they weren't. So just check that. No, everyone is still out. So Hamilton would be winning the Drivers' Championship at the moment. We would move down to second. Obviously, we know we were never going to keep those first places over the season. The Mercedes and the Ferrari are a lot quicker than us. We start to see who's that coming to the pits. Perez has come into the pits to fix his car as well. What's he going to come back out of the pits on? See if Force India make another strange decision. Onto a hard tyre. We've got like 8 laps to go. Why? You should have a medium left. It annoys me sometimes this game with the tyre strategies. They are set to realistic strategies. Why? Maybe they think the hard tyre works better on the track that's got a little bit more grip. Maybe that is the thing, but we're seeing Ocon go quicker than Norris, running the same. He's about he's about half a second quicker, but he's 3 seconds further down the road. There is time for him to pick that back up, but we do have more room to push with the fuel with Norris. Norris, meanwhile, we're just going to get these tyres cool because we're almost running too hot here. So we'll just keep both cars running the same sort of strategy. We're not favouring one car over the other here. And once these tyres get cooled back down, we'll run them back in neutral again. I want to keep these pretty cool because it looks like Ocon's going to have some room to push with his tyres as well. And we should have some room to push with Norris as well. Obviously we can't catch Vettel, we can't catch the top 3, but Ferrari, luckily, after their disastrous first race, have got 2 cars running in the top 3 here, which is good to see. Magnussen's moved up to 9th place now. Leclerc still running in 6th place ahead of Bottas in the McLaren. Hulkenberg has moved himself back into the points as well. So we're just preparing for the end of this race here. So we're back on lap 27. Lando Norris has a failing gearbox, but we're going to just keep him going here. We're not going to push, which means we can't really risk pushing his car, his fuel load that he's got, that little bit of extra fuel that he's got. So it's going to sort of be a straight shootout between these 2 cars. We're going to quickly try and cool these temperatures down because we do have some room to push with Esteban Ocon. We have room to push as well on the tyres as well. Pushing the tyres doesn't usually affect the gearbox, it's if we're pushing the fuel. So it's just going to be a sort of straight shootout between these 2 cars when we turn back the tyres back up. So we'll just run it for another lap here until we go around, and then we'll run it in full on overtake mode and see if Ocon can chase down his teammate here. He's still that 3-second gap behind. He's actually falling behind here a little bit as they try and cool these tyres down a little bit more. We're under no pressure from Charles Leclerc behind, so here we go. We'll just speed both these cars up and just watch the tyre wear and watch this gearbox for Lando Norris as well. So we'll go from Ocon's point of view, since he's a car chasing down. Is he chasing, is he closing this gap now that we're pushing on the medium? The medium should be a lot quicker than the hard tyre, although it's about a half warm medium tyre, so maybe that is not as quick. But we're starting to close. We'll be able to see after this lap what the lap times are like. So just see, we'll just go around once here, and the lap times about a half a second quicker from Ocon. If he can only keep that pace, then he's going to be a little bit behind. He doesn't quite have the time to pull it back if he's still going to be, if he's only half a second a lap quicker, although he looks to be a little bit quicker this lap. No, he doesn't. Maybe he's actually slowing down. Norris is still picking up pace on this hard tyre, so the lap times might be a little bit more in tune with one another. And we've got Ocon's tyres overheating a little bit here, so we'll just keep them running as it is at the moment. He's actually slower that lap, so he's just going to make sure that his tyres don't go. We'll just run back now. Ocon doesn't have the pace in this Williams car or himself to catch up to Lando Norris here. So Norris is going to hold on to this 4th position, so we might as well just speed things up here as we go around the last couple of laps. There's nothing really happening here, although we've got Leclerc coming into the pits. He couldn't stretch this soft tyre out for that last lap, and he's dived into the pits. He's lost his 6th place, but he still does come back out into 8th place. That is the advantage of this Doha pit straight here, the Doha pit lane. It is a really short pit stop. He's managed to get out in front. He might be able to catch Magnussen here, and Norris is complaining about worn tyres here. He's got about a lap to go. The gearbox could fail at any time, so we might get him in low mode as well, just to make sure that those tyres don't fail. The gearbox doesn't fail. What am I on about the tyres failing? But Leclerc, meanwhile, has he got the pace to catch back up to Kevin Magnussen here? You wouldn't think it in that Sauber car. It is I think it's the worst overall rated car in the series, as we're now on the last lap. Ocon is actually slower than his teammate, who's recovering, just holding on to this gearbox. I hope we're not going to fail now. We're on the last lap, and Leclerc is not catching Magnussen. Ericsson in the Sauber as well managed to get himself up into the top 10, so this doesn't bode well for the Toro Rossos, who are running 17th and 18th, who have finished bottom in the Constructors over the last 2 seasons. It looks like it's going to be another long season for them. And Hamilton finishes the race in first. Lynn comes across for his first top 3 in Formula 1. Vettel gets 3rd onto the podium behind his teammate Alex Lynn. And Norris is going to come round here. We'll just push him, get everything in overtake mode to cross the line. Ocon comes 5th, so a decent race there, 4th and 5th. Last season we came 2nd with Ocon, and Sergei Sorokin finished 13th. So that's an 18-point haul. This race we've managed to pick up 22, so 4 points better off this season than we were in last season's race. We're still up there with the championship leader Mercedes, but as Mercedes and Ferrari, we're not going to be able to keep pace with them. It looks like we might be able to keep pace with the Red Bulls, who were struggling again. Daniel Ricciardo crashed early on, and his teammate Pascal Wehrlein, despite finishing 2nd in the last race, is outside the points this time, all the way down in 13th place. So Red Bull, without their really strong driver lineup, might find themselves struggling this season. Shouldn't be any scrutineering problems here. No one running risky parts at this stage in the season. So Lando Norris, an amazing race for him, picks up 7 places during the race. Alex Lynn 4 places as well for him. Ericsson from 20th gets a point, as does Charles Leclerc, moves up 9 places. Esteban Ocon remains where he qualified. Ocon currently 2nd. Norris up there 7th place at the moment, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo, who crashed out in the last Grand Prix. And as we know, we're 2nd in the Constructors' Championship, and looking strong for that top 3 finish that we're chasing this season. Both drivers were off form in that race as well. Neither of them have been that on form, so it would be good to see what Ocon can do. He was off form in the first race, managed to win it, and then came 5th. We've had a 9th and a 4th so far from Norris. We're still losing nearly £1 million per race, which we can't do anything about at the moment. We've got some pit crew to look at, although we've got an amazing pit crew at the moment. We've got every person we've got has 20 in their stats. It's just an amazing pit crew. We've got 5 races left on everyone's contracts at the moment. We've got this new gearbox built, which is at a 1245. We can get that to a 1275. There wasn't much improvement with the first one we could do, but I don't want to build any risky parts just yet, so we're going to go with the plus 10. We can add it a 25 here. could take us to 4 days before the race, or we could add 40 to max, which we would get time to build. And then there's not much after that other than this one that adds 25, which we would want to build as well, but we might just leave it at just this one. So we're going to get the plus 40 max built. We do have time to work on the reliability of that before Vancouver, when we can introduce that. And we'll just move on to the interview. Esteban Ocon was beaten by Lewis Hamilton. I'll just say that one because then it doesn't really upset the drivers, but it always keeps the top drivers buttered up for just in case we want to take a risk next season with a massive budget for the drivers. If we wanted to pay $1.5 million for a top driver, we could go ahead and do that. But anyway, we're coming up to the Chinese Grand Prix. The next race is going to be raining in qualifying, so that might throw up some interesting sort of grids if anyone goes out in Q3 when they shouldn't really go out, and it looks like we've got a rainy race coming up anyway. But anyway, that is it for the second race of the season. So leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're not already subscribed to the channel. But until next time, I'll see you down the road in China for the Beijing Grand Prix, and goodbye.